Hello Doctor Who fans, I am Doctor Who Commentator, here today to give you something I don't normally do. I've said before how I'm not very good at reviews, and you're about to see why I'm not very good at reviews, because I'm about to review my top 10 worst episodes of Doctor Who. And I will even highlight how I came to those conclusions. I thought of what episodes came into my head and went with that. Yes, that's how badly thought out it was. I can't even completely remember my reasons for why I've put them in the order I've put them in, so it's partly off the cuff. And even when just as I was coming to do this video, I even thought of some other episodes. Maybe that should be, but then I thought, actually, most of those other episodes came from the new series, and I thought I'd be banging on too much about the new series being terrible, and I do want to give that one a bit of a fair shot. So with that explained, oh, and also, apologies for how long it took to get the last episode up. Yesterday I was having problems. I've got a new computer, I didn't quite understand how it worked, and all this computer stuff I don't quite understand. It produced in mod format, I needed an MPG. It's not letting me retitle it MPG. I had to go through all this conversion process. It's complicated. It's probably going to still be complicated when I'm uploading this one. But enough of that. Let's get to my review, the top 10 worst episodes of Doctor Who. I should say I already had an idea of what my 10 and 1 would be. So, to begin, number 10, The Black Orchid. We've all seen it. We know it's just really not a very memorable episode. There's nothing really to it. Frankly, to me, it just felt like it was an episode it just felt like they needed some time to fill the series. So we thought, we'll put those 2 episodes in. It wasn't really Doctor Who at all. It was just some family feud, if nothing else. Now, some may even ask me, if you have that opinion of it, why do you put it at number 10 and not number 1? Or rather, not closer to number 1. The reason I do that is because the simple fact that it's not trying to be a Doctor Who. To me, a really bad episode of Doctor Who has to be one that's really trying to be an episode of Doctor Who. And like I said, that was, frankly, looked more like something that was just trying to fill, because they had a series to fill, and they just thought, fuck it, let's put that in. So, it's not. So, it's a really bad episode of Doctor Who, but frankly, the fact that it's not trying to be Doctor Who is why I don't consider it the worst. Number 9. The Aztecs. I was going to put this number 8, but I had a differing of opinion. And, again, it's not really an episode where anything completely happens. It's just sorting out a tribal dispute. It's not science fiction. It's not really anything. But I don't rate it number 10, or even worse for that matter, because at the heart of it, it was very much what Sidney Newman wanted for Doctor Who. He did want it to be a completely educational program originally. A bit of science fiction, but a bit of education. And that's very much what they got with that episode. So I don't rate it too badly. Number 8. The Gunfighters. Again, it's not that dissimilar from the Aztecs. It's just simply a historic episode, no real science fiction element, and the American accents are just so bad. And that's why I rate it number 8 and not number 9, like I did with the Aztecs. Because it is just going really bad, but most of the point does have a bit of action, and it does sort of feel like it's trying, and badly trying, to be Doctor Who. But, yeah, that's why I just do not consider this a good episode. Number 7. Okay. We've all seen it. We've all got opinions on it. I don't rate it the absolute worst, but we can all rate it as pretty bad. The movie. America's attempt at Doctor Who. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some parts in this that others hate that I actually don't mind. For instance, the whole thing about the Doctor being half human on his mother's side. No issue with that. I think that's actually a perfectly logical understanding. He was bullied as a child. We know that he's had a bad upbringing. I wouldn't be surprised if it was that discrimination. And it does bring an element of mystery of the Doctor as far as I'm concerned. Like, who are his parents? We don't really understand them at all. But, like we saw, a lot of real cheesy acting. There was a lot of confusion. Story didn't feel like they actually understood Doctor Who. I mean, that particular DVD, I saw the documentary part on it, and the director or someone on there put a Napoleon's hat in there to say, oh, who was the Doctor? Who knows what the Doctor might have been? But we know who he's been. Real fans know who he's been. Do not try to pretend you fully understand Doctor Who. And it's so unfair to Paul McGann too, because we've seen Paul McGann. He was a really good Doctor. I mean, he's a good Doctor in the audios as far as I'm bad at reviews, because as far as I'm aware, I've heard some audios and he's really good. I love his Doctor. I'd love to see more of his Doctor. But we got that, and that's what we're always going to be stuck with. Number 5. Kinda. This is what I get at too about the idea of trying to be Doctor Who. We're getting there. This one really was trying to be a sci-fi element. It was trying so hard, and there are parts which are quite a bit of it's quite good, but I rated it number 5 because it was all of it was ultimately ruined by that whole concept of fear itself. What can fear not stand? It can't face itself. Which was just complete bullshit. Didn't make sense. And of course, we've got the snake, which could have easily climbed over those mirrors. It just did not make sense. And that's what I'm saying about the snake just climbing over the mirrors. I don't really complain about... I don't really want to rate anything badly in the classic series on the grounds of bad special effects, because, frankly, I do accept that there were limitations at the time. I don't blame that. But, yeah. That snake just really ruined everything. So that was the... number 6, I think. Yeah, I got number 6. Now, we're getting to number 5. The remaining 5 are in fact part of the new series, so you can understand why I didn't want to bash it too much. From Series 4, The Doctor's Daughter. Jesus. Again, this is where I get to the idea of trying to be Doctor Who. There was a lot of sci-fi element, there was certainly some exciting element, but again, it was all very cheesy. And Russell Davies was once again trying to put a lot of religious element into it. And I'm an atheist too, Russell. I completely agree with you. I'm not trying to make... But you did try and put a lot of religion into your series. I mean, by religion I mean that there's a whole part about how when they were on that world, they discovered the world was built in 6 days. And there's a whole part with Martha Jones, and I cannot believe I've completely forgotten the name of the actress that played her. Yeah, nonetheless, there's a whole bit where she's crying, and she's meant to cry over one of those Hoth creatures, I think it was, just falling into the quicksand or whatever. I think that was so badly done, such terrible tears. And to Georgina Moffat, who said that her getting shot was totally unexpected, no, it was not. It was so expected. I saw that coming a mile off. And the whole thing of, oh, will the Doctor shoot the guy? No, of course he won't, because it's a kids' show. Alright. Interesting enough, the next 3 ones that I'm about to do all come from the same series. From Series 2, number 4, the Idiot's Lantern. Again, trying to be Doctor Who, but it was just a cheesy story. Didn't really go anywhere. I didn't really feel any anticipation or anxiety or fear or just anything worthwhile about this episode. It was just so boring. Had nothing to it. I mean, it seemed like one of those ones where they wanted to fill the time, if anything else. I just did not take anything from it. Number 3. Fear Her. Again, an episode trying to be Doctor Who, but just so cheesy and not particularly... And I didn't really like the child actor. It's unfair to bash child actors a bit, but was it ultimately necessary? And a scribble monster? I mean, monsters that are ultimately drawings, trapping people in drawings? Ay. And all that, feel the love. Good. Kill me now. Kill me now. Number 2. This used to be my number 1, but nonetheless, number 2. Love and Monsters. Undeniably one of the most uninteresting episodes of Doctor Who. Originally I thought it was uninteresting because it didn't really have the Doctor in it, but then Stephen Moffat wrote the episode Blink and realised, actually it's not that bad, it's just that, again, it was really cheesy. It was just a guy making his own video diary for the most part. Wasn't really much about Doctor Who in it, much to a point. It was ultimately disappointed me because I saw the whole Blue Peter competition where the Absorbaloff was the winner, and I was genuinely terrified about the concept of the Absorbaloff. But it had such cheesy acting in it that it really ruined it. I mean, the only good thing about that episode was, what's the twin planet of Raxacoricophiliptorius? Clom. Yeah, that's the only exciting, funny part we got from that episode. It was the first episode in a new series I thought absolutely rubbish. My whole family thought that. But now, here we get to the end of it. Sorry there. The number 1 worst episode of Doctor Who. And I admit this is totally biased, but nonetheless, the worst episode from Series 7. Hang on. The Rings of Akaten. This encompasses everything I was talking about saying something that has to try to be Doctor Who. The Rings of Akaten really was trying to be a Doctor Who, more than any other episode. That trailer looked so exciting as well. That's the really crux of it. None of the other trailers for the ones I reviewed looked particularly exciting. That one really did, because it was actually having everything I'd wanted in Doctor Who since the series started again. It wasn't involving humans. It was an entire civilization of aliens. Like many compared it to the Troll Market from Hellboy 2, and I agree, that was really good. That's what I got from it, and so I was expecting something totally exciting. And what did we get? We got this whole thing about a mythical sun god, or whatever it was, named Father, and he has to be sung to every now and again to make sure he's still asleep. And how do they save the day? Partly with a sing-song. Just a whole sing-song. Now don't get me wrong, the part with Matt Smith, that was really exciting. But again, Matt Smith's Doctor, he didn't save the day. It was Clara with the whole leaf thing. This is my precious memory. I find it hard to believe her memories were much more intense, and her story, rather, was much more intense than the stories and all the memories that the Doctor has had. The Doctor has so many memories, and frankly, the idea that Clara's was the one to really end it all was just absolutely ridiculous to me. this goes down as my #1 worst episode, on the grounds that it really could have been better. But we didn't get that in the end. It was just a really preachy episode. Excuse me. That just did not live up to any expectations. So that was that. The number 10 worst episodes of Doctor Who. Now, let's go into the top 10 best episodes. There are too many. There are so many good episodes, I couldn't possibly review my favourite. Because the rest are just, quite a lot of the others are just so great. It's hard to dip a hand in Doctor Who and not appreciate every single one of them. And that's also where I like to take. I mean, there are some really bad episodes, like what I've just said, but I still appreciate them. I still appreciate the series as a whole. I love the series. And Doctor Who will eventually become really boring style, and there are going to be worse episodes than this. But it's still one of the best shows on British television, and I look forward to more. So, you've watched my review of the top 10 worst episodes. Thanks for watching.